Welcome to the first lecture on Pandas series. So in this lecture we will be discussing about how we can create the Panda series, how we can access the elements of the Panda series, how we can assign new values to the series, and how we can also define Panda series from other NumPy arrays and from other series. So let's just try to first understand what are the two primary data structures in Pandas. See, Pandas has two primary data structures called as series and data frame. Series is used to hold one-dimensional data. It is very similar to an array, but it has more enhanced capabilities. You can imagine Pandas series as a column in a spreadsheet or a table. But data frames are more complex. They represent multidimensional data. You can imagine data frame as something similar to a spreadsheet or a table with multiple rows and columns. So data frame is more ideal for organizing and analyzing the structured data. Today's lecture, let's start with the Pandas series. See, Pandas series are used to hold one-dimensional data. So basically it's a sequence of data very similar to arrays, but it has labels. So the Panda series has two arrays. One is an index and the other one is a value. So value, as you know, it will contain the value of that series. And index is basically like a label, the label through which you can access these values. So let's first see how we can create a Panda series. To create a Panda series, you have to use the constructor called as pd.series. So once you have imported the pandas as pd, then you say pd.series. And to this constructor, you have to pass the arguments. The argument that you are going to pass would be the values that you want to have in your series. So you say pd.series, remember S has to be capital letters. Within the parenthesis, you give the list of values that you want to give. In this case, I have given 12 minus 4, 7, 9. So when you display the what is there, you pass this to a variable s, and when you display s, you will see these are the values, and that is one column, and the other column which is automatically created, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, that is actually the index or the label. So if you don't specify any index in your constructor call, automatically an index would be created which starts from 0. That is a default index. So suppose you want to customize the index, you want to have an index of your own choice. Then in the constructor call, after you specify the value, put comma, index is equal to the values, the labels that you want to give to the values you can give here. You can also pass string as the labels. So let's see now in the Jupyter Notebook how to create a Panda series. So go to the Jupyter Notebook. So first you say import pandas as pd, and now you create your Panda series. Say pd.series, s should be capital, and within the parenthesis give the values within the square brackets. So let's say the values, not to confuse, so I'll give 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So these are the values. So shift enter. So now when you display s, see, this is the first Panda series that we have created. As you can see, it has two columns. Okay, the first column is actually the index. The second column is the value that we specified as arguments in our constructor call. And you can see that by default the index will start from 0 and it will increment by 1. Now suppose I want to change the index, then what you do is here is in the same constructor call, after the list is given as a first argument, put a comma, then you give index is equal to, within square brackets, give the labels that you want. You can give strings, as I said. Let's say I give the string as A, then B, then C, D and E. So now execute this again. So now you can see this is our series which is created again with an index of our choice. Okay, so now suppose I want to access the elements of our series. So you can access it through the label or you can access it with the values. So if I want to access through the index, I want to access the index, you just give s.index. If I want to access the values of our series, just give s.values. So just type here s.index. So when I say s.index, all the indexes A, B, C, D, E should be displayed. See, it is displayed. And if I say s dot values, then all the values, that is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that is displayed, and the corresponding data type is also displayed here. Now suppose I want to access specific elements, right? So that then we can use the concept of numerical index. We can also use the concept of label. In the sense, see, I want to display 13. Then if I use the label, then what will I give? S of C. So when I say S of C, okay, you have to give here, it's a string, so give it within quotes. See, when I say S of C, 13 is displayed. If I say S of E, you have to give it within single quotes because it's a label, it's a string, C15 is displayed. I can also access it through the index, the default index. What is a default index? It starts from 0. So if I say S of 0, the first element should get displayed. See, this is what we call it as numerical index. So you can access the elements using the numerical index, that is by position, right? So the position wise, the first element will start from 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. Or you can access it through the label that we give. Okay, and here in fact even negative indexing is also there, just like we had in arrays which we have seen before, NP arrays. So here also you have numerical negative numbers. So let's say I give S of -4. See, 12 is accessed. So this will be -3, -2, -1. See, if I give S of -1, see, the last element is displayed. So negative indexing applies here also. So if you want to start from the last number, then this would be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. If I give S of -5, see, 11 is displayed. So if you want to access individual elements, numerical indexing is possible, positive indexing as well as negative indexing, or you can access it through the labels. You can also do slicing here like we have done it before, right? So if I want to suppose access 11, 12, 13, 14, then what you do is you can give the slices. So what you do is S of 0, it starts from 0 to 2. See, 11, 12 got displayed. Right? Suppose I want to access 12, 13, 14, then what I have to give here is S of 1 colon 14 would be which index? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So you give here 4, one number extra. Okay, see, 12, 13, 14 got displayed. The concept of slicing remains the same like we saw in NumPys. And we can also have labels. We can also have array of labels. Right? So suppose I want to display S of this one 12, the second element and the fifth element, then what do you do is, so just give it as an array, S of B, and the last one was E. Okay, there's a square brackets missing. Okay, so what has happened here? This is array of labels, right? I have displayed the S of B element and I have displayed the S of E element. They are not continuous. I can have it in discontinuous locations also by giving an array of indexes like this. So this is about selecting the internal elements. You can use it through indexes, numerical indexes, positive as well as negative indexes, through labeling. You can access through slicing. You can also have from discontinuous locations using array of labels. Now, not only accessing the elements, you can also change the values of the elements. So let's say I will change the value of the first the element at the index 1. So what do I do? S of 1 is equal to 0. So what is S of 1 here? 12. I can change it. Okay. So I will make S of 1 is equal to, let's say 234, some number. Now if I try to display S, see, the value has been changed. So you can change the elements as well. You can assign new values to your series. That is also possible. I can also do it through the labels. Right. So let's say I will change the value at E is equal to something like this. So now when I display S, you can see that S of E is also changed. So that means you can assign values to your series using the indexes or by using the label. Now the next concept is I can create a series from a NumPy array. I can create a NumPy array, and from that I can create a series. So how do you do that? First you create a NumPy array. So let's clean this up. Okay, let's just create a new one. Okay, so now I'm going to first import. Now I need both NumPy as well as pandas, right? Because I'm going to first create a NumPy array and then I'm going to create a panda array as well. So both I'm doing. Now let me create a NumPy array. So ARR is equal to, let's say, NumPy array. Let me keep it simple. Within square brackets 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is our NumPy array. I have created a NumPy array. Now from this, what I'm going to do? Create a series from NumPy array. So how do I do it? So let's say the series name is S3 is equal to, what I'll do is pd dot s capital series. So within the arguments, now I'm not going to specify the values 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead I will say ARR. ARR is actually our NumPy array. So I'm giving a constructor called pd.series. Previously I was giving the values here, right? But now what I will do is I'll give a NumPy array ARR, because ARR is a NumPy array. Shift enter. Now if you display this, so you can see that again a series has been created in a similar format. The only difference is I have created my series from a NumPy array. That's all. That's the difference. And how you did that? Create a NumPy array and pass that NumPy array as an argument to our constructor. Now one more thing that we can do is we can create a NumPy array from a already created. I can create a series from an existing series. So let's see how we can do that. See, I have created a series already called as S4. So from that I want to create one more series. So let's see how we can do it. Go to the Jupyter Notebook again. Okay, so I have already created a series called as S3, right? So from this I will create one more series, S4. So what do you say? S4. Of course, whenever you're creating a series, you have to make a constructor called pd.series. The only difference is what arguments you give there. So here for the argument I will give S3. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am create a series from existing series. That's the difference. Shift enter. So now when you see S4, you can see that one more series which is similar to S3 has been created. So I have created a series from an existing series. That's the only difference. Now there's one more very important question here is, see, when I've created a series from an existing series, now the difference question that you're going to do is is it pass by value or pass by reference? So what do I mean by this, right? So suppose I make any change in S3, right? Will S4 also change? That is a question that you should get, right? See, what is the value of S3? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me change a value in this. S3 of 2, I will change it to 20. Okay, so this is our S3. Right? I have changed S3. Now you should get a doubt. Will S4 also change? Yes, it will also change. So what is the meaning of this? It means that it is passed by reference. Right? So when you create a new series from the existing series, the values are also passed by reference. So any changes made to the original series will affect the new series. Okay, any changes you make to the original series will affect the new series. So that's the meaning. Now you can also get a question, if I change some value in S4, see, S4 I have changed, will S3 also change? Will it be possible? Yes, because they are pointing to each other, right? It's passed by reference. Any change you make in either of them, it will change because it is passed by reference. Got it? So in the next session, so just to quickly revise, in this session we've learned how to create a Panda series. We learned how to make a constructor call called as pd.series. We gave arguments to the constructor call, only values we gave. Then we also gave labels. So thereby series is basically going to have just two columns. One would be the value and the other one would be the index. It can have a default index or you can customize your index. And we learned about how we access the elements of this series. If you do s.index, you can access all the labels. If you say s.values, you can access all the values within it. And we also saw how we can access specific elements. I can access through index, I can access through labels. I can also do slicing, where I can slice out certain elements of the series, or I can also take elements which are not continuous by giving array of labels. Then we also saw how I can change the values of the series. Then we created a series from a existing NumPy array. We also created a series from a new series from an existing series. Very important point that we learned is, when we create a new series from an existing series, please remember this, it is passed by reference. That means any changes you make in the original series, the new series will also be affected. Please try these examples, and in the next session we will discuss more on Panda series. We will see how we can filter the values, how we can do operations on the series, how we can apply mathematical functions on the series, evaluating the values, and we will learn a very important concept called as NaN values. Thank you.